Hello everyone, and welcome to the Patterns and Change page. As you been watching these videos from time to time, you know that I give a lot of credit to the Mother, Father, Eternal Self in motion and the Eternal God in stillness. The light of God in stillness. And this becomes what the title of this video, the basic three of life, cannot be added to or subtracted from. And that's what I want to show you. This universe can neither be added to or divided from. In other words, every idea that you've ever had has always been eternal, because there was a direct composition making up that idea. No matter how unique it is to you, that idea has always existed in nature. In other words, God does not give you anything. God gave you everything to begin with, and the only thing you receive is an awareness that God has already given it to you. It's already there. Sort of like opening your presents on Christmas morning. The presents were already given, and when you unwrap them, you become aware of what has been given. That's exactly the way God operates. The Father, Mother is eternal, but we can relabel the Father, Mother by saying that the Father is action and the Mother is reaction. As I give you this action, I call it the clockwise direction, but you see it as counterclockwise. You see your side, which is the reaction. If you gave me your clockwise direction, I would see it as your reaction. Creation is waves of Father, Mother. Father, action. Mother, reaction. There is never a one-sided giving ever in this universe. Sex division is another word for motion. It's another definition of motion. What is motion? It is sex division between the Mother and Father of all creation. If there is no sex, there is no motion, or no action or reaction. So we might put it this way: motion must go through God's stillness in order to give. In other words, if you take a baseball and you throw it straight up in the air, what happens? It goes direct up and stops in midair just momentarily for a split second and comes back down. In other words, it ran out of potential. It went into stillness, which is God. Stillness and silence is all belonging to God. Silence is where all sound, no matter how beautiful the song is or terrible the sound is, whether it's the screaming of someone in torture or whether it's a beautiful song coming from an orchestra, it is coming from God and returning to God. Now, we have to go through God in order to give. If I were to give you something through this screen, which I am doing, I'm giving you information through this screen. It must first go through the stillness of God before it reaches you. Otherwise, you wouldn't catch it. Now, I want to show you one more thing before we stop the video. How close you are to God. This is one of the first lessons I've got to show you before we get into meditation, because you got to understand the relationship of your body to the Mother, Father, eternity of creation. There is nothing ever brought brand new into the universe. It is brought out of the stillness into visibility and then goes back out to invisibility. And that's this little show right here. This is the familiar seesaw that you see. Sometimes you'll see it with the elephant and the ant. On the father's side is the ant or the mouse, and the mother's side is the elephant. This is the gases in the invisible darkness of space, and they become the stars, the visible. Nothing is ever unused in the universe. Now let's apply this to your own life. Let us say that you have a problem. That problem becomes an idea. An idea. All ideas are invisible. They come from the birth of the mother, the stillness, invisible. And they are manifested out here, no matter how great they are, no matter how many billion-dollar ideas we have, they are manifested in the visible side. That's how close you are to God. Nothing is ever taken away from God. Nothing is ever added to God. It is the divine Trinity of the Father and Mother interchanging with each other. And over billions and billions of years, the solar system will wear out. It will disintegrate out. But guess what it does? It comes right back in. Just like every day you wear yourself out, you disintegrate out. Disintegration is a word you won't find in the dictionary, and that's I hate that, because that is a beautiful word created by my teachers that should be in the dictionary. And I'm going to show you some things here. I'm going to tell you some things. What you want to do when you begin to meditate, you want to get away from the seesaw of motion. You want to desire the very center right here. You want to desire that ecstatic center so that you can learn how to operate the father-mother in motion. So you forget the father-mother of motion, or forget your body. You have a left brain, right brain. You've heard of that. Some of you may know a lot about the left brain, right brain. So you know a lot about the brain. You know a lot about the body. As such, you want to forget your sensing body. You want to forget your brain records and go into and desire, wordlessly desire. Do you know how old you are? I do. You are somewhere in over 1,000,000 years old. You see, long before there was a language, before there was a civilization, there was something telling creation how to exist, and that is instinct. And you were part of it. You had a body back then, because you're a point of stillness. You are a point of stillness in the earth. It was planned for you to be here. And that point of stillness has a pattern around it. And that pattern is made up of little points around it. You call it the karma. You want to forget all of that and go into the very center that started making you. Because at one time you listened to God. You couldn't exist if you didn't listen to God, because you had instinct in you. You had to survive. That is the basis of all creation, is survive as the pattern exists. Let me show you how this works. My teachers taught me something that I never heard of before. And I'm going to tell you what it is, and it's the very purpose of what I work on. That is, if you'll remember, or look back in the history of mankind, somewhere around 200 years ago, women wore corsets around their midsection to make them look skinnier. Now that's 200 years ago. So what? Well, I'll tell you what. It damaged their internals. And today, that pattern that is around the female soul, the inert gases, that very pattern is causing childbirth deformities and childbirth problems today. When we learn how to take care of the pattern in our souls, we will not be so much concerned with problems in the manifestation. If you remember in right here, I'm sorry for all this disorganization, but idea is birth, and father over here, father, the red father, is idea manifested. Whatever is over here has got to be manifested. If it's in the pattern, it's going to come out. That means capital punishment is worthless. It's not accomplishing what you think it is. It's not stopping crime. Because whatever in the inert gases is going to come out in the physical body. That is why people are becoming more animalistic. We have no choice. The deeper in the farther you go, the more deep you go back towards the jungle. You must have God involved. God awareness must be in you in order to have peace in your society. I'm sorry to be so long in this video, but I feel it's so important for us to understand how we create problems in the future, right now. And with your help, we'll figure some of this out. We can figure out the elements of matter. We can figure out some of these patterns. And working together, we can improve our society. We have to take it very important. One time, I was at the University of Science. Leo Russell was busy. We were having a potluck dinner. And some man was there. He was out on the outside porch, and he was smoking one chain cigarette after another. Leo Russell happened to mention he needed to stop smoking. He said, because I'll get cancer. She said, that's the least of your worries. It is marking your soul with the need for tobacco that is your greatest worry. That is an astounding fact. That's why this video is going so much overtime. I'm sorry. Thank you, and have a most ecstatic time today. I love you. Come back and see me again. Leave me a comment. Argue with me. That's all right. Just don't beat me up, okay? Bye-bye.